of a Pulse of the Heartland college football here. We didn't want to do the little timer. We're ready to fucking go. It's Cyhawk week, dude.
Fuck yeah, let's go Hawks, baby.
Well, I won't agree with that, but yes, I like the enthusiasm there. So, yeah, we got Cyhawk this week. We got a big old a big old week one. I mean, that might have been recency bias, but that might have been one of the better opening weekends we've seen in a while with just college football in general.
Oh yeah, I definitely think that the big games panned out, except for Georgia, Oregon. But yeah, the rest of the big games were close. They were good. Just super entertaining weekend. So yeah, I can't wait to dive into it, man.
I agree. I guess before we really dive into the deep, Joy, can you just do the socials quick?
Yeah, no problem. So as always, reach out to us on Instagram and Twitter at Heartland Pulse. Search us on Facebook. Just search Pulse of the Heartland. And on YouTube, if you're not watching live already, do the same thing. Just search Pulse of the Heartland on there. Follow all our stuff. Like all our stuff. We've got a couple things going on. We just started a pick'em pool for the NFL games. We're all watching the NFL tonight with the Bills and Rams going on live as we're going. No, I'm not doing this in a club. I'm literally sitting 6 inches from the TV in this hotel room. There's no other place for me to do the podcast. So it may look like I'm clubbing, but I'm not. But yeah, anyway, like and subscribe all our stuff. Let everyone know. And then with that pick'em pool, I'll release next week on how we're going to verify the winners are listening. But yeah, there'll be something special for the winners at the end of that.
Hell yeah. Well, what are you sipping on, dude?
So I just got here to Knoxville tonight. Was in Charleston earlier today. Left Savannah this morning, and tried to go to what I was hoping would be Bryant's favorite restaurant here in Knoxville, called Peyton's Place. They had a 40-minute wait at the bar because it's, like I said, the first night of the NFL season. So instead, I was just looking for a sports bar, and what do you know? Right down the road, there's a Hooters. So went there, started sipping on big. Exactly, had to go. Started sipping on some big mugs of the good old Busch Light. Had a couple of those, and then they couldn't figure out the TV situation. They were turning on NBC Universo, and I was like, "No, I'm not watching this in Spanish in standard definition. I will go sit 6 inches in front of my TV and watch that." So yeah, just the Busch Lights. Sorry, long story for just telling you the Busch Light.
I just wanted the drink, man. No, you're telling me that, like, I couldn't imagine, like, I kind of think Hooters and B-Dub's kind of the same thing, but, like, you got the U.S. Open right now. It's the opening day of NFL season. They are doing college football repeats. U.S. Open, doesn't make any sense to me. But
there was NBA replays going on. I had no idea what the fuck was going on. So anyway, enough about that. How about you? What are you sipping on?
Crown Vanilla again. I think I'm gonna power through this on these Thursdays into the week, kind of stress reliever. So, but
man.
But the trivia question I came up with, I just saw it on the news feed. Who owns the longest home winning streak in the FBS?
God damn. I really, really want to say Alabama, but I feel like you asked this because it's a trick. Mm-hmm. So
I'll be honest, they're top 5, but it's not Bama.
Is it Ohio State?
No.
Oh, I don't know.
It is actually going to be Clemson at 34 games in a row.
Damn. Okay.
So Clemson has at 34, followed that. Cincy's at 27 in a row, Oregon at 19, Ohio State at 14, and Alabama at 14 as well. So, okay. Miami of Ohio and Alabama, they're just, two sides of the same coin.
Exactly. Almost the exact same stuff.
So, but no, I didn't say looks like we do have a couple of viewers right now, so we do appreciate you joining in here. We're just going to jump into the week 1 recap here. So I would say we'll start with your team, Joey. Iowa 7, South Dakota 3. How do you feel about that game, bud?
It was not great. It was hard to watch, and I only watched half of it. And then I had a camera installed in my work truck, so I had to listen to the rest of it. And it was bad enough watching it. It was terrible listening to it. And I didn't even listen for like 40 minutes because they had to turn my truck off. And I get back on, and it's 5-3. And I'm like, are you kidding me? There's nothing better. So anyway, Yeah, I have. I'm going to make my stand-up comedy debut tonight, I think. So I've got a
Ooh.
little rendition of everyone knows Jeff Foxworthy and his "You Might Be a Redneck" jokes. Well,
All
I
right.
have "You Might Be a Hawkeye" fan jokes. So just bear with me, and hopefully these make some of you giggle. If your team wins 7-3 and there are 0 touchdowns in the game, you might be a Hawkeye fan.
For sure.
If your offense only gains 166 total yards and wins the game, you might be a Hawkeye fan.
Ooh.
If your defense scores more points than either offense, you might be a Hawkeye fan. If your team is up 5-3 and you feel like you have the game in hand, you might be a Hawkeye fan. If your defense gets its second safety to ice the game and you're only up 4, you might be a Hawkeye fan.
Mm-hmm.
If your punter, Tory Taylor, is a dark horse Heisman candidate solely based on his 10 punts from one game where 6 of those were downed inside the 10, you might be a Hawkeye fan.
Yeah.
If your QB has a QBR of 1.1, yes, 1.1, you might be a Hawkeye fan. If your OC and head coach are from the same nuclear family, you might be a Hawkeye fan. If your head coach somehow has been there for 20 plus years and still has a full contract buyout until 2029, you might be a Hawkeye fan. If these coaches don't even think about replacing a QB, even for just a momentum change, you might be a Hawkeye fan. And finally, if you're already looking forward to wrestling season, you might be a Hawkeye fan. Cheers.
That
everyone.
last
Drink
one is a
that
true
Busch
one
Light.
right now.
Mm-hmm.
I would say waiting for wrestling season. Usually, you got to wait until basketball for you to want wrestling season at that point.
Oh man, it was just that defense is spectacular, though. I got to give them props. And Tory Taylor looked great. And I know you had a little tidbit before on this. I'll let you get to that in a second. But just one more pity party before we move on to next week. That offense, something has to change. And I know they were without a couple receivers. I know they half the law firm wasn't playing.
Mm-hmm.
Petras was just atrocious. Something's got to switch with him, or they have to take him out. And I just don't know why either one of the Ferences don't want to. But it's above my pay grade, I guess. I don't know why they don't listen to the fans. I mean, when you have a college kid getting booed, you should just take him out anyway, so that his self-confidence has to be down the drain right now. So what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to put Dilla in, and he throws for 20 yards instead of negative. So whatever. It's next game. We got the win. Move on.
I think if Petras would have been taken out mid-third quarter, you hear he's a stand-up kid, and I guarantee he is. But I think he would have understood at that point with where the game was. It's 5-3, and you have three. You really didn't have many 3-and-outs, but you had 6 plays for 18 yards. There was nothing clicking at all. So right. It sounds like, in a good news for you, from what I've heard and read, Brian Ferentz has talked about how he's, he even admitted, he goes, hey, we missed some call. This wasn't, some people were talking about the line, some people were talking about this. He was talking about the quarterback missed some. He didn't directly say it, but sounds like he's going to have Petras on a little bit of a tighter leash. So, I mean, if things start going south in the Cyhawk game early, middle of second quarter, nothing's going on, I wouldn't be shocked if they pull and put Padilla in at this point.
Yeah, I really kind of hope they do, and have him on a short leash, not just for the team itself, but for that kid's self-confidence. I mean, there's going to be shitty fans. As well as I do that there are shitty Hawkeye fans, and people are going to boo him regardless of anyone saying, please stop doing that, because they're just shitty Hawkeye fans. So hopefully, for his own sake, they do pull him if things get off the rails, but hopefully we are playing an Iowa State team that doesn't have a great defense this week. They looked good last week, but hopefully our offense can move the ball a little bit better this week. We'll see.
Yeah, I would say, and that you got to look at last year. I mean, it was the exact I guess opposite. Matt Campbell had Brock Purdy with a couple games. This is a 4-year starter. and he was just getting demolished in a few games, and he took him out for a series or two. Just give the kid even a breather. Just refocus. Get his like you said, get his confidence up. Talk with him on sidelines, and give the other guy a shot. At worst, you score, or at best, you give your starter some breathing room. Really take a moment to coach him up, and then get him back out there. So I agree. Exactly. That one was kind of disappointing. I know Kirk's tenured, but it's like 24 years. That kid's not doing anything. He doesn't have the confidence. You got to get him out of there. So
right, exactly.
I don't know. As an Iowa State fan, I hope he plays the whole game next week, though. Or this week.
I do too, but I hope he puts up like 400 yards. That'd be awesome. But we will see. I don't think. I mean, they always say the biggest growth is week 1 to week 2. There needs to be a whole lot of growth. I hope there's a season's worth in the next couple days.
I agree. Well, let's just jump into the Iowa State game. I mean, I really don't have too much fundamentally to break down. I mean, we played an FCS team, SEMO, and we beat them 42-10. I mean, the connection between Deckers and X looked amazing to start off the season. I mean, I think I put out one of my tweets that did some numbies here. I think I put Xavier Hutchinson, and he only had like 20 more yards after, but it was like Xavier Hutchinson, 109 yards and 3 touchdowns. Iowa passing 106 total, 0 touchdowns. I mean, that just exemplifies how much of a good connection those two have. I think the defense looked fine. Nothing that really stood out outlandish, but again, it's FCS. I don't think they're going to be doing as much of the, big plays that you have to need or putting as much pressure as they have to when you got the game in the bag after a quarter and a half. So as a Cyclone fan, after the last 5 years, I think the biggest gripe we've had, we love us some Matt Campbell, we love us some Bridges, but I think the biggest complaint is he doesn't come to play in ready in September, and it seems like he's got this team ready to go.
Good. Yeah, and I mean, I hope so too. I hope they bring full force, and it's hate week, so I'm going to say this. I hope when we beat them that they're full strength, and we are ready to go with that. But yeah, from what I saw in the box score and stuff, I didn't watch any of the game, but it looked like it was a pretty good win for the good old Cyclones over there at Ames.
Mm-hmm. It was I would say it was a good win. Like I said, you got the lead early. We got to go home. You didn't have a heart attack halfway through. Like, no offense, like the Iowa game was it 3-3 at half, and you're just going, what in the fuck? And yeah, so not having that for one weekend, the opening weekend, it was really fun. But I guess I put Mizzou on here, Louisiana Tech. Did you even watch it? Do we care about that one?
I didn't watch any of it. No.
Okay.
I know
Mizzou won.
People at work were happy about it and stuff. I mean, that's all I know. There was a tailgate for them, and that was a Thursday night game too. So yeah, I take that back. I did watch a little bit of it while I was in Corpus Christi, but not a ton. We were recording that night too.
Big thing is they're an SEC team. They did what they're supposed to Louisiana Tech. Yep. So good on them. Yep. Hopefully they can carry some momentum, but good luck there. I think the one, I don't know if Ryan wants us to bring this one up again, but holy shit, you watched that Florida State LSU game, didn't you?
I did watch it. That was a crazy fucking finale. I felt for the LSU guys after that game, and I know you Iowa State fans did.
Well, I even texted. I was like, I'd like to make fun of LSU fans right now, but I've seen Iowa State do this type of thing between Brock Purdy volleying the ball to the defense to muffing the punt in the Cyhawk a few years ago. I mean, I've seen these types of crazy, crazy endings to games. So, it was just kind of from an outsider's perspective, these games are kind of funny when you're watching them. But I mean, between the fucking, first off, the first missed kick. I've never seen a special teams coach that's ever had all the line wherever there would be a tackle and another tackle, and you would one blocks out, and then there's just absolutely no one to cover the. When we did in high school, and it's completely different from college, everyone just blocks in. You're all one uniform. I've just never seen it part like the Red Sea, and they just came fucking straight through on that first field goal.
Right. It's crazy. I don't know. I don't know what Brian Kelly was thinking. I don't like hearing that there were like death threats against the players, and that kid that missed the 2 block, like that's insane. I know LSU fans are passionate, but again, they're 23 years old at most, unless they're that is it Oklahoma State kicker that is like 20 or 34 or something like that?
Yeah, it was Oklahoma State, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, most of the time they're still kids, and it's crazy. So
that is pretty stupid. I mean, and it takes the like. What is so great about college football? It's immediately diminished by people taking it way too seriously. I take it seriously because I fucking love it, but I've never been. Brock Purdy threw an interception. I better get on socials and tweet at him. I mean, fucking losers need to get a life when they do that type of stuff. But I mean, craziest last 2 minutes we've probably seen. Hopefully, we can get more of those games that aren't our teams. Going forward in the next coming weeks here.
I mean, there was a time in my life where I was saying that if Jake Christensen was walking downtown at the same time as me, that I would tackle him and try and stab him. But that's a different thing. I didn't say that openly on social media.
Oh, Jesus, yeah, it's not going to be recorded forever on a digital footprint, but
right, not anymore. Well, wait, yeah, it is. Shit, edit that out, editor.
Well, hold on, real quick. It looks like we got a Kansas fan here before we get into the next part here.
Oh shit,
Nope.
Kansas.
You're at the hospital. What the fuck's going on?
Oh, Brian, I'm just taking a break from my hard shift at the hospital here to let you all know that KU kicked ass last week.
Ooh.
Yeah, you called that one, dude.
Yep. And so they're off to a hot start. They've got 1 win, no losses. What could be better?
Oh, Lord. What the hell is this? Are we being invaded?
What?
We're getting like
I'm not
Twitch
welcome on this.
Rated.
Am I not welcome on this anymore? What? Jason for one week?
Yeah. Well, I just assumed you're on vacation. I didn't think we'd see you.
Oh, I thought I'd check in, see how the pod's going, see how hate week's going.
Well, you haven't got to the hate yet.
You missed my Joe Foxworthy stand-up debut, so you need to go check that out when you get a chance.
I'll have to rewatch after we're done here.
Hell yeah.
So I would say before you hop off here, Trent, is there any respect or hate that you want to throw towards Iowa before?
I just hope they have a better offensive performance this week than they did last week for Joey, and I don't want that for him.
That's all right. You look like you're in the only God knows why Kid Rock video, just out in the middle of nowhere drinking beers by yourself.
Yeah, I stepped away, but just at the resorts.
Nice. Cheers, bud. Go Hawks.
Good. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I can't take any more of that, so I'll just get out of here.
Bye.
Talk to you later, bud. And then there's 3.
So what's your predictions this week for KU there, Ollie?
They're playing West Virginia. West Virginia is trash. They don't even have a win yet. Are they even as good at football as KU? Probably not.
Probably not.
I'm giving KU a win. We're rolling with the momentum, baby. Let's go.
I like it.
I think they're sneaky close to covering.
Probably. Yeah, so they're going to have to go to them dirty mountains and deal with that. I mean,
dirty mountains where you be sweeping up or something?
Ew. I'm too pretty for dirty mountains. I go to KU.
Well, I would say we'll have to bring you on next week so we can get a full
I got
KU
a call.
breakdown.
I'm too busy to be here. Hang on. Bye, guys. Bye.
All right, see you later, bud.
Bye, KU.
God, KU gets 1 win, and all of a sudden
are KU fans? Are KU fans pretentious? I know Mizzou hates them, but I didn't know if everyone else thought that too.
What, you've never dealt with a Jayhawk basketball fan before?
I don't really care about Jayhawk basketball. Like, I know they're good, but I mean, no, we don't fuck with them. So,
I would say we'll kind of touch on these other big games of the weekend. I mean, you fucking called that one, dude, on your week 1 lock. Georgia just throttled Oregon 49-3.
Yep. Fuck yeah, dude. I knew they would. And Georgia, I tell you what, I know everyone fucking is saying it this week more than ever. They look better than they did last year, and their offense actually looks good. Stetson looks awesome. So Yeah, hopefully those receivers and stuff keep it up. I honestly, right now, I think it's Alabama, Georgia, and then everyone else at this time. Ohio State, I know they pulled out a gutsy win against Notre Dame, but we'll see how that Jackson and Jigba injury ends up being, and then if Henderson can get on track. But right now, Ohio State looks sputtering on offense. Granted, Notre Dame has a really good defense, so we'll see. But yeah, the Georgia and Alabama just look unstoppable right now.
I'd have to, now that we're talking about our Notre Dame, I think I have to pull it up because I want the exact numbers. But I mean, with these huge games, and I think where everyone, I guess, dislikes Notre Dame, not only just the prestige they have and just jealousy, but like here it is. Since 1999, Notre Dame is 2-22 versus the top 5. So it's, you get all of the recruits that you want. You can choose your own schedule. And you just can't produce when it matters most since 1999.
Right.
So, what the fuck is going on here? Wait, Cowboy now? What the fuck is
Boy, howdy, boys. How you doing?
Oh, Jesus. This is a real Kansas fan now.
That's right. I'm a fan of the best dang football team out of Kansas, them K-State Wildcats.
Oh, okay. Well, I might just fucking log you off right now. Get this emo bastard out of here.
Woo! Let's go.
Who did K-State even play? Did they? Oh, they South.
They
Dakota.
played them South Dakota Coyotes. Whooped them.
What was the score?
34-0.
Okay. Well, they did what they were supposed to. Did Adrian Martinez turn the ball over at all?
Probably, like at least a dozen times, but they're just so good it doesn't matter.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Anything else you want to say, Iman?
Well, we got a big game this week. They're playing against the Mizzou Tigers out of the SEC bastards. Think they're the hottest shit in the whole land. Well, they ain't this weekend. They're going to lose. They're going to get it.
They going to get it? I think right now, Kansas State 7.5 point favorite. So I'm feeling pretty good about them.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Oh yeah.
All right, you want to get one more email before you're out of here?
Email.
There we go. All righty.
The fuck is Emon? I'm never mind. I don't care. It's Big 12.
It's a Kansas State thing. Doesn't fucking matter. But
no.
I'd say so. Yeah. I mean, Ohio State. And again, I think if they have a couple more, decent wins, then it's right back in the conversation of title. But yeah, week 1 it was definitely those two SEC teams and kind of everyone else.
Right.
Last one, then Florida. Florida ended up beating Utah 29-26 in the swamp. There, that was a hell of a good game.
Utah came out of the gates just firing on all cylinders. They looked really fucking good. And then I don't know what happened. They just became super undisciplined. And is it Richardson is the Florida quarterback? Man, that dude looks good.
Ema is every man a Wildcat. I should have known that off the top of my head. Thank you, Blaine. But yeah, and they do some weird little instead of like little horns up, it's some little fucking. I think it's like the same thing. It's just like that, or is that TCU? Fucking who cares? Kansas State, they're weird as shit. But back to Utah here. Yeah, I mean, from all the shit talking that they were doing on social media over the summer about the Pac-12 instability and coming to the Big 12 and talking they're better, everyone's going to prove it. And for a majority of that game, they did prove it. They were keeping up with Florida, and even though Florida's unrated, they are getting the athletes. So I just felt it was a great game. I'm surprised that not only Utah dropped so much because of a close game like that on the road, a true road game in a hostile environment. And we'll talk about it in a couple of seconds, but I'm surprised at how far Florida jumped in the rankings, afterwards.
Yeah, that game looked really, really good both ways. It was super entertaining. So I'm not surprised they jumped Utah, but yeah, I see what you're saying about like an SEC bias of them going clear up to 12. I don't know. Do you want to talk about that right now?
Yeah. So I posted it on my Twitter, and then I retweeted on Pulse to just kind of and didn't get a lot of tweet or a lot of votes on it, but In the preseason, there was 3 teams that were not ranked that I felt, one that wasn't SEC and that were within the same vote range. Florida had 14 votes unranked. Kansas State had 14 votes unranked, and then Purdue had 17. Do we think if the Boilermakers had hosted the Utes, or if the Emas had beaten Utah in the same manner in this first week of the year, do we really feel that it's good that they would jump to 12? I mean, I feel like if you don't think so?
No, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, we talked about it a little bit before the pod. Anyone that's not in the SEC jumps to like maybe 18 at the highest. Like, doesn't matter if they beat the number 5 team in the nation. Like, that first week, they only get into the teens. They don't ever jump clear to 12. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I feel like if this was like Purdue, and it was a Purdue that everyone hyped up or had a good win like that, maybe they jumped like 20 to 18. 18th ranking. I don't think I've ever seen a team that has went from no votes to all of a sudden we have a story. We have a great quarterback that followed up from Emory Jones last year, and they jumped to 12th. And honestly, in the head-to-heads, if you think of it that way, my team beats yours, so they're better. It makes complete sense. But man, that I just always have a bad feeling when they just jump that much and it goes, well, they're actually that good, because I can tell you if an unranked team beats Florida, if Florida goes on the road and they lose to an unranked team, that team's not going to jump Florida and Florida's going to drop out. Florida's going to go maybe to 15th because it was a road game. That's all they're going to say.
Yep. Yeah, it's the SEC bias is very, very thick, I guess is the only word I can come up with, even throughout the rest of the country, which is crazy. So yeah, I think the only team that even comes close to having that sort of bias is Ohio State, and sometimes Oklahoma. So
I would say, yeah, I don't know. We're never going to get over it. I just always, as a Big 12 fan, I got to bitch about it because it just, man, you see, we've talked about it even last year. They jump really super high, and it takes so long to cut them down before they finally cut, because they have bad losses compared to Utah that apparently being men and going on the road for a true road game in the swamp, lose by 3 points, and you drop fucking 6 spots, and the other team jumps to. I mean, maybe it's the respect for Utah. I don't know, but it seems like it's kind of SEC.
Yeah, I suppose there is some respect for Utah too. But like Texas A&M, I mean, every year they lose 1 or 2, and it seems like bad losses, and they're still ranked in the top 10 at the end of the year. It doesn't ever make sense to me. So
yeah, 8-4 and ranked like 11th. Yeah, I agree.
Yep, exactly. But now it's just 2 Midwestern guys bitching about the Southeast. So
yeah, we'll move on. No one wants to hear about that until we actually get to our team. So, but we actually did, for the locks that we gave last week, we went 3-1. Trent's very clutch minus 4,800 favorite Kansas did win versus Tennessee Tech, so good on them. But you called the Georgia covering. I got SEMO covering. The only miss was a classic with LSU, which honestly, that one was such a fun game to watch. I mean, is what it is. I mean, I had some others that I do on the Action Network. I keep track of my bets. I went officially 3-1. I had a push with Clemson fucking covering because they had a 5-star quarterback play hero ball in the last 4 minutes. So that one kind of sucked, but otherwise I had a solid betting weekend.
Nice. Well, good for you, dude. Yeah, I'm glad that our picks are showing that we're not, total idiots and can actually, make some legitimate sense out of all this shit. So, yeah, we're not professionals yet, but we're getting there.
You know what? Professionals start somewhere. They start as amateurs, A couple of sites that
Look at Pat McAfee.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I forgot to even put it in there.
He's on game day now. Yeah.
So, I don't know. That one, I think it makes sense. You got to get someone young, someone that is, is aware of social media. As dumb as that sounds, I mean, Reese and Kirk are, but I think you got to get someone that is there involved and can bring a young audience as well. I mean, how many times, even within our group, we're always sending Pat McAfee clips about it. I mean, their show is just fucking hilarious,
Mm-hmm. Exactly, especially when you are one of the only places that ayahuasca gets talked about with Aaron Rodgers and shit. So yeah. It's a good show.
Yeah. Do you think there's any ayahuasca talk in the in the pregame or any of these college game days?
I don't know. I don't think he's afraid to say anything at all. So
Mhm.
yeah, I would not be surprised if something like that gets brought up with him talking to Aaron Rodgers. But yeah, I doubt it. But you never know. Jack Harlow was pretty tame last week, so
Yeah, and he actually had some decent takes as much as we were shitting on him. Now, I would say he compared one quarterback to Brian Brom because he's a Louisiana fan or Louisville fan because he's from Louisville. But it was funny because then all these people are like, "Is Jack Harlow a sneaky good college football analyst?" It's like, I could say anyone that's mobile is the next Seneca Wallace just because I'm a Cyclone fan. You know what I'm saying? It just
right.
But he made some entertaining TV, and we knew what it was. It was basically a mini concert as well. He did a couple songs, so
Right.
no shock
Exactly.
there.
Who is the host this week? Do you know?
Oh shit! I don't think they announced that until like Friday, dude. I guess I haven't.
Oh, okay.
It's Alabama at Texas. Every fucking show on earth is going down to Austin. I don't know if they've announced it yet.
So it's gonna be McConaughey. I mean,
Yeah,
who else?
I actually got it. If it, just one small thing I'm going to bitch about. Do when College Game Day goes to Austin, are they going to bring an Alabama alumni or an Alabama fan to the stage? I don't think so. So why during the Iowa State game did they bring Ashton Kutcher? I'm done with that. But if it's not McConaughey, that would be insane, man.
I mean, who is an Iowa State alum? George Washington Carver? I mean, he's dead.
Yeah, we can talk about peanut butter, man.
Exactly.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, I'm sure we could come up with someone, just not on the spot here. But let's actually get to what we are actually excited to talk about and somewhat know quite a bit about. It's going to be the Cyhawk game, which the nicest game of them all. It's the 69th meeting between the two schools, Joey.
Yeah, nice. I like that.
Caught you off guard on that one, yeah. But no shock, Iowa is the favorite. They've won the last 6 straight, and they are hosting. So I'm not shocked it's 3.5-point favorites. But I think originally the line moved from 6.5 to 3.5. So I mean, a little interesting that it's moving in Iowa State's favor right now.
Well, I wonder why. I mean, the offensive output that got put out last week. I mean, I'm surprised Iowa's even a favorite, but I'll take it. Kinnick usually gives you 3, so yeah, yeah, and 3 points with this year's Iowa offense. I mean, that's like winning by 17. So I still think that defense is going to shut Iowa State the fuck down. Yeah, but we'll get into our predictions in a little bit.
Okay. And say we were talking about the few things that we just kind of wanted to jump in, a little teaser here. Did you want to? You said we wanted to start with the hate first that we have for each other's schools, or the respect?
I think we should. How many hates do you have, and how many respects do you have? I have 4 of each.
Oh. I have a few written down. I can do 4 and 4 a piece. I can kind of prioritize it. But as you know, my hate for Iowa is overflowing. My cup runneth over, Joey. So I mean, you let me know how many hates you want to do, and I can keep coming up with shit.
Let's keep it semi-civil. I don't want to get into that podcast where we just shit on each other back and forth. I mean, we have to live with each other on the podcast for the rest of the year. So let's go back and forth and do our 4 hates, and then we'll flip it and hug at the end and make up and do our respects.
Okay. Well, your home team. I'll let you go first, dude.
Okay. So things I hate about Iowa State.
Yeah.
Their colors, red and yellow. Fuck that. It looks so. Ever since I was a little kid in like 2nd grade and knew what sports were and knew I was a Hawkeye fan, every time I see the cardinal and gold, I want to I don't know, throw dirt on it and put black and gold on there because I just don't like the color scheme. I never have, never will, whatever. Fuck it. And it's ingrained into my brain that I don't like the Cyclone colors.
I think some of that is a little of the USC as well, which I'll take majority is probably Iowa State, but it doesn't help that the Orange Bowl game also was the red and gold. Not cardinal and gold, but red and gold. So.
But I like Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush and them. I don't know. I just growing up that way, just don't like the cardinal and gold. It is what it is. Just not my faves. It's fine.
Okay.
Well, and you bring up USC. They have to steal their colors from someone else. So, not like Iowa that made their colors by themselves and didn't ever steal it from another NFL team or anything.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. There you go. I'll leave it at that. That's for sure. I can't do two mini ones because that is one small one for me. One, Wiz Khalifa is not talking about your goddamn school, okay? Black and yellow, including you, have always said that.
It makes me so pissed that last week I was ending the whole podcast with that, just saying black and yellow, and Ryan logged off right before that, so it didn't get in the podcast. So all you motherfuckers that missed it, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. That's Wiz Khalifa talking about Iowa. He sang it in Iowa City, so we know he's talking about Iowa.
But you ever tell an Iowa fan that black and yellow is not about them and they're just a child, la, 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 I can't hear you.
I will mute. I'll mute you. I don't give a shit. It's true.
Let's do snake draft just because I'll just do another one. Then you can do a couple back.
Yeah, that's fine.
Your campus and tailgating fucking sucks. It is everything is so spread out. Do you want to go? Let's have some Busch Lights on T-Box for 13 over here. We're only a couple miles away from the stadium. Actually, I want to be a little closer. Let's pay someone $25 and park on their lawn and not have enough room to play bags. Just atrocious.
So, to rebuttal that, all you need to do is take an Uber with a case of Busch Light down to the stadium and just find people to party with. That's all it takes. There is no fucking, having to find a spot. The only people that do that are the lame-o adults, like me, that have to go to fucking Finkbine, and then everyone hates you. But whatever. That's what you do.
That sounds so caveman, where you don't know, and you just walk up, you go, Hawkeye, and then you just ugga, and then you drink your Busch Light.
If you say, go Hawks, and show your Busch Light, it's like a passport getting into any party down there.
Take a shot, take a motherfucking shot. If you're a that Hawkeye saying is, that's one.
Oh my god. That just reminds me of your classmoey. Every single time I hear that. Jesus Christ. Okay.
We have a few of them that said that shot that are Hawk fans. Joey, I guess you got another one there.
That was good. First of all, my next one. The mascot, a cyclone. You're in fucking Iowa. It's a tornado. Cyclones are tropical storms. There is no fucking tropical anything in the state of Iowa. We all know that. So I hate that. And then there's a bird in a tornado. First of all, that's the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. So of course I hate it. So fuck that. Yeah. It's stupid.
I'm looking up real quick because I cannot remember if Cy has teeth in that. I'm pretty sure he does.
Oh, yeah. See? Even worse. What is this? A dinosaur? It's Sharknado before Sharknado. Was Sharknado invented in Iowa State? And they're like, wait, only Joey's afraid of birds, so we need to make it a shark.
So yep, he has teeth too. Because that's always unsettling when I'm watching a Louisville game and that big shit-eating grin by that fucking bird in the middle of the field. So, but I mean, what? So you want the Iowa State Tornadoes?
Or the Twisters.
Terrible.
ISU Twisters.
Cy the Cardinal. I mean, that's what tore the tornado. Twisty, the Twister.
I don't care anything. So, all right. I said that about Iowa State. Why does neither college have actual anything from their mascots? There's no such thing as a Hawkeye. There's no such thing as a bird that's a cyclone. Why? Yeah. Why did we do that? It looks so stupid.
Just back in the day, it was probably we're red birds, you're blackbirds, and that's it. That was as simple as it had to be,
Probably. That's probably true. So, and my next one, number 3, the ref blaming that happens at every single Iowa State event. I don't give a shit if it's football, basketball, wrestling. Somehow, some way, the refs are going to fuck you over. I've traveled a shit ton and been around a ton of other fan bases. You could be winning the game by 70 points and there could be like a foul in the middle of the lane and fucking refs, they're completely against who paid them. Come on, guys. It's not the refs every game. So, and I guarantee if you listen back to our podcast from last year, I know Bryant Trent brought up the refs at least once.
Yeah. It's been ingrained in us so much. We've gotten a lot of letters from the Big 12 on a lot of them, but yeah, that is kind of the de facto go-to. And it's usually just because, like a couple of years ago, we're finally to the point where we're expected to win these games. And then, these calls in the games that happen when it doesn't matter, we never really gave a shit. Now it's like, we have to blame the fucking refs because we're choking it away. We got to cope somehow, Joey. I mean,
so as a Hawkeye fan, if there's
Mhm.
ever anything that's even questionable about the refs, I'm like, oh fuck, oh wait, no, that he probably made the right call. I'm not gonna blame the refs. Like, I don't give a shit if they like completely blow a call. I'm always thinking, all right, well, the refs are fine because I'm not gonna be a Cyclone fan and I'm not gonna bitch about the refs.
Sounds like we're saving you from being a terrible fan, so you're welcome. I mean that.
I'll take that.
No, I will admit it. That's what every Iowa fan says, and I just have to fucking grin and bear it because it's like fucking that is us to a T. I'll be drunk on those tailgating lots, blaming the ref every single time, not the guy dropping the ball.
I've watched so many games with you, and it never fucking fails. And Jack and I will literally look at each other and just start giggling because it happens every single game with you guys. I don't know what it is, but whatever.
Now, the next one, I would say, this is where it's going to get a little personal, Joey, that my next two, you probably are not going to like. First one here, just the fans. You guys are getting out of control because, first off, your rivals keep shitting the bed and losing games that you should be losing. Nebraska should have lost that game last year. Iowa State 2 years ago with the muff punt, you should have lost that game that year. But again, that's part of the rivals. We have to win. But what's happening is your fans are getting out of check, and they got the ego that they're Alabama, but they can't be Kentucky in a fucking New York Six Bowl here. So I wanted to bring up, this is the photo I wanted to share here. This is the prime example. This is a fan after, again, we talked about how you can be not happy about how the offense was playing. You just got a safety to basically secure the victory. You're up 7, an amazing defensive performance, and then Pouty McPowderson, only 2 safeties? That was one of them. It just pissed me off, like seeing that everyone else is happy, and then here he is just,
I mean, I will take that Pouty McPowderson over fucking is it Defeat Cobra or whatever this is? Like
Surrender Cobra.
Yes.
Yeah.
Surrender Cobra. I mean, yeah, it's stupid. I try to only be that fan against Nebraska, and it's because their fans are somehow worse than us. But yes, there are a lot of bad Iowa fans, as there are with every fan base. But yeah, it's I get it, man.
Well, if you don't mind, because I want to do one more, and I want to end on yours, because I think it would be a bad taste if I left on mine. I don't know how to politely say this. The Iowa wave is fucking overrated, man. I'm sorry. It is a good thing to do. This is not a tradition. That we've had a sport that's been around for over 150 years, but something that happened 4 years ago. Greatest tradition. Pat ourselves on the back. We're the greatest fucking people. People that haven't donated any money to the hospital. They don't volunteer their time at the hospital, but they're claiming the wave is their good charity because they're fucking 12 bush lights deep and it's overrated. Like I said, I like the idea of the Iowa wave. Overrated.
Man, I really hate that it's hate week, and I actually have to agree with you on your last two. Every time I come out, because you got to go pee at the end of the first quarter, come out of the bathroom, and all right, it's time for the greatest tradition in college sports. I'm like, no, what are you fucking talking about? It's a cool thing. Don't get me wrong. Should we keep doing it? Yes. But for them to say it's the coolest tradition, it's like, it's been like 6 years. Fuck. And I don't know if you know this, but this year.
10 or 20 years.
Right. I don't know if you know this, but this year they switched so that the kid captains, instead of playing Wave, whatever the fucking Wave song is, I didn't know it was a thing, but that was traditionally what they used. This song called Wave. Well, now the kid captains get to pick the song. So like this last one was Brave by I don't know. You know the song. I
Sarah
want to see you be
Bareilles.
brave. Yeah. But Don play, I don't what? Would you take the it doesn't matter.
UNLV plus go on yours. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Okay. Anyway, people are throwing fits about them not being able to, or they don't want them to be able to pick the song that gets played. It's like, why the fuck do you care what song is being played? Wave at them, go pee, do your thing. Like, it's a big moment for these kids, and it's a huge moment for the ones that are in the hospital still. Like, just let them pick whatever the fuck they want. Jesus Christ. It's so stupid. But yes, I agree with you. Very overrated.
Well, you know what? That actually does kind of transition into the respect part of it. But I have one question. So you said you had to go to the bathroom in the first quarter. Do the people at the urinals wave? Like, do you get there and you just see people just doing this in the bathroom, just waving in the direction?
I normally just turn around and do the helicopter while I'm peeing. So it's
it's a light switch. Trust me, folks.
So I do have one more hate left because I only did 3.
Yeah.
All right. 2 fingers all the way fucking up. Fuck you, Kyvan Gadsden. You can go suck a big fat fucking hog, you fucking piece of shit. For those that don't know, that motherfucker instigated a big brawl. Well, not a brawl, but a big argument thing that was going on at the Iowa State last year, and then tried talking shit to the actual wrestlers that were there. First of all, it's very fucking unprofessional. Fuck you. I hope someone... never mind. I'm not going to say it because I don't want assault on anybody, but I really hope some Hawkeye wrestler in some training room somewhere just beats the shit out of you in wrestling. So fuck that.
Jesus.
In
Now
wrestling, I said, not... What?
Go ahead.
What were you saying?
I was just saying, now he's never going to come on the pod when we want to interview him.
Oh, I never ever want to interview him, so I hope not. Screw that guy.
Well, Joey, do you want to jump into the? You want to jump into the respect, or you want me to?
I don't know. I went pretty hard on Kyvan Gadsden. Why don't I lead off again? So
there we go. With a bad taste out of your mouth.
Yep. So number one thing I respect about Iowa State, especially right now, Matt Campbell. I just drew a blank on the wrestling coach.
Oh God!
Starts with the D. Doesn't matter. But anyway, they recruit very fucking well for being in the middle of nowhere, Iowa. That is a hard place to get recruits to. And Jesus Christ, they're doing a very good job. So the recruiting and the recruits that they bring in, and it's a thing that every year Matt Campbell gets, rumored on these other jobs and everything. That's because he's very good at his fucking job. Your teams have been good. They always outperform their expectations other than last year, but last year was really the first time they got hyped. So yeah, I'm very very impressed with their recruiting.
All right. I would say Kevin Dresser, by the way, is the coach.
Dresser, thank you.
Yep. So, I would say first thing I would say, because I'm always jealous of it, is just the discipline that team has. Every single game, I would say, even the offense, there was no offense. They were pretty there was no failed assignments on the line that I at least saw. That defense obviously kept in that game, but there's no how many times do you see a game where it's back and forth? One team makes a big play, all they have to do is stop them, and then the other team just makes a huge play. That doesn't happen with Iowa. I mean, I bet you if you look back in the last 5 years, I think they've lost 14 times. I bet you 2/3 of them are within one score because Iowa doesn't let that big play happen. They will stifle a team, and if they lose, it's going to be close for the most part, minus Michigan last year.
Right. Yep. There's usually one game that they just get outplayed, and that happens. But yeah, the discipline, the bend but don't break defense. I mean, it's just usually it's a good all around program.
Mm-hmm.
Snake draft.
Yeah, sure. I would say offensive line. I would say both of me and you. In case people can't see us on YouTube, obviously we used to be linemen. So it's always good to see when a craft is mastered like that. Your line the last couple years hasn't been as good as years previous when you've had the Belugas, when you've had the Wharfs. Lindenbaum was your best guy last year, but even their down year in linemen, and so I've even tweeted a couple times, your down year in linemen is probably better than some of our best. This might be one of our best lines this year. We might finally compete, but your linemen are always, I would say, we always joke about tight end you, but I would say I'd be more proud of being offensive line you and getting these guys that are ready and they compete in the NFL right away. They aren't in the sidelines. They're basically starters right away.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, just look at the last few, like you mentioned, Lindenbaum. Tristan Wirfs is the highest rated tackle in the league. I mean, they're doing good things at Iowa, always with offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
So my next one, just overall, I spent a lot of time in Ames in the college days. Every time I go back, the city is just vibrant with shit to do. It's a good place to go. You're always safe there unless you get super drunk and the smiley face killer comes after you and then you have to ride home in a police car. I don't know who does that, but yeah, Ames, the city itself, is a very, very good place for that campus to be. And I really, really enjoy being around that Ames campus every time I am there. So yeah, I like Ames, the city, and the campus all together with Iowa State.
All right. I appreciate it, and I kind of agree with it. They've kind of got their, even the parts of the, you have your Welch Ave downtown area, but you also have, when you're kind of outgrow that scene, you have your Mothers, you have your entertainment outside. I'm just naming bars. It shows you what my entertainment was, but
yeah,
you have different parts where we even have downtown for young adults and stuff. So I agree. This is just obviously very biased and very limited experience in other towns, but I just love it's a small enough. It almost feels like a town rather than a city.
Yep, very much so. And no matter where you go, you're going to get that small town Iowa nice stuff. And since we're doing snake draft, this kind of bleeds into my next one too. You said it before about the Iowa tailgating not being up to snuff. The Iowa State tailgating is fucking awesome. I can't deny that. I don't care if you're on the outer bus lots, if you're in the paid adult lots. Wherever the fuck you go tailgating for Iowa State, it's a good time. You're always going to have, I mentioned show your bush light and get in type of thing for Iowa City. It's even more so in Ames. So yeah, if anyone out there is listening that has never been to either tailgate and you're looking for one that you have to go to Ames. You're going to have a good time. You're going to find parking. You're going to be able to get there and get in and out in pretty easy fashion. So yeah, I really like the tailgating for Iowa State.
It is so clutch being right off the interstate with two major exits to come off of, so you can even go through the town and still get out in reasonable time. Probably, I think the most I've ever had to wait, and it's because I waited to leave, was about 45 minutes. And that was going the long way through town. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, they make it real easy. Vet med, like you said, you could really just show up anywhere, and that's just kind of tailgating. Show up anywhere. You got a bush light. Say go Cyclones at a couple points, and then you're easy breezy.
Yep, and I don't know how many times that I have not went to the game, but I went and watched it somewhere else, and then I go pick people up and take them back and forth. Because it's that easy to get around. So yeah, the tailgating is supreme at Iowa State.
There we go. I like it. Couple for me, and we're going to touch about it when we're actually breaking down the game. Just defense. I mean, again, you're in every single game. The Michigan game got out of a little bit out of control, but you're dealing with the top 4 team in the country last year. Otherwise, every game you're within, you take your talent that you get, because you get a decent amount of 4 stars. There's no 5 stars out there, but you're developing these. Again, both schools do it really well with recruiting within the state. You're developing all these kids from the state of Iowa into, like I said, it's a bit of a pipeline right now for to the NFL. GMs and these teams go looking at Iowa and know they're getting a professional ready player. They know they're not going to be dealing with any behavior issues, because guess what? They're not going to be on Iowa's team long. Kirk's going to kick them out. So
yep.
I would say defense is always huge. That respect for the football team, and then just as well, I would say we joke about it with Tory Taylor being a Heisman, dark horse right now, but overall they just make special teams feel special. As dumb as that is, I think what'd you say of the 10 punts that Tory Taylor had last week? 6 of them were within the 10-yard line.
Yep. He had 2 or 6 within the 10, 2 on the 12, and then 2 were touchbacks.
Yeah. And within the 10, there was a couple, I think 2 or 3 that were within the 2-yard line.
Yep.
I mean, that was what killed us last year was, oh, cool, we have to score on this drive, 98-yard drive. We have to score on this drive, 90-yard drive, 85-yard drive, 93-yard drive. It was just when you force your team, and if you score, well, then good on you. Kirk's not going to get angry, but you're forcing them to play the whole field rather than have a short field and you only have to go 40 yards compared to, when you start with that 90-yard drive, you have to get fucking 60 yards before you're even in field goal range. I mean, you're dealing with what most teams do just on a normal basis. So I just absolutely am just envious of the special teams.
So it was funny. They were interviewing Tory after the game, and they talked about that very first one. It literally looked like he kicked it to that receiver that went down and caught it on the 1-yard line or the 1 or 2 or whatever. And he goes, yeah, as soon as they didn't bring all the pressure like I thought they were going to, he's like, I took my time, saw where he was going, and kicked it right at him. And I'm like, I even tweeted this. I was like, that motherfucker can punt to a receiver better than Petrus can throw. So it's a blessing in disguise. I agree with you.
Yeah, I would say when you have a guy that's talented and he's honing his craft like that and just trying to master it. I mean, I guarantee they're doing that shit all the time. Hey, just run a 50-yard vert, and I'm just going to try and punt it right into your hands. I guarantee they did that in the offseason.
Right, exactly. So to end this, I'll give my last one, and this is to squash all beefs for all of Hate Week and just hope for a good game. You guys have some of the most passionate fans I've seen, especially being in the Big 12, and no offense, not being the top end of the Big 12 for years and years and years. I've never met an Iowa State fan that didn't love their team and just absolutely put all their effort into it. That's why you guys blame shit on the refs. That's why you guys, argue with everyone. That's why it's awesome. And I love passionate fan bases that aren't complete douches. And I've never met a really complete douche Iowa State fan. Do I ever agree with them on anything? Usually no, but that's fine. It's different fan bases. But no, I appreciate the fan base at Iowa State, and I always enjoy my time there, even when I get kicked off tailgating buses and stuff just for being a Hawkeye fan. It's still fun.
Yeah, exactly. You only run into guys that are 75% douches at most,
Yeah. I mean, when you stand up and just yell, "Go Hawks," on a complete Cyclone bus, and then you get escorted off with a beating stick, whatever, it is what it is.
Now, I would say definitely no one was inebriated at that. It was all sober, civil conversation before that, and they were just being unreasonable, right?
I was literally just hitting on girls that I'd been hitting on all night and all day before that. So, yeah, there was no shit talking or anything. I was just doing my thing I think I was 23 at the time. So, yeah.
Well, did Iowa win that game, or were they winning at that point?
I believe it was halftime, and it was one of those close games in the early aughts. So, yeah, or not early aughts, early 2010
teens.
Maybe. Yeah, early teens. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, I like the fan base. I'm hoping for a really good game. And you brought up the crazy stuff that usually happens during that game. I'm looking forward to that. Unfortunately for you guys, it usually happens that you guys get the short end of that stick. It's fine by me. I hope there's more stuff that happens this week. Craziness. So.
Well, what would be your keys to the game? What does Iowa need to do to win?
So I know I made a bet with you and Trent. I definitely think that Iowa still holds Iowa State under 17 points. I think I don't want to say 14 or under because I still think that they're going to somehow, I don't know. I bet they hold him under. I bet they give up 2 touchdowns, 1 in each half. Iowa's defense has to show up as good as they did last week. If not better, because Iowa State's obviously going to be better than South Dakota State. and the offense just has to show up at all. Really, they just didn't last week. They didn't all year last year. If they show up at all, I feel like that could maybe get out of hand for Iowa State based on how good Iowa's defense is. But yeah, we'll see. I don't have any faith in that. So I think it's going to be a closer game than most Hawkeye fans are comfortable with. But yeah, what are your keys to the game?
I get, first off, just with that point, I think if either team goes up 14 points, the game's going to kind of be over at that point because Iowa's defense is going to stifle Iowa State enough. Iowa State's offense, if we get a 14, your offense, I don't think can keep up, or your defense is going to have to make the big play like they did last year. So, keys for me, one is going to be the line play. We run that three front. And I know we have great linemen. We have Will McDonald, that was a preseason All-American. But I like I've said, I think Iowa's worst line can compete with some of our best. Now we're starting to get up there. Our offensive line also returns 4 starters, so I think we're going to be just fine on the offensive side. But I say that the line play is going to be key for Iowa State on offense and defense. I would say along with that. One thing, sadly, that is going to go our advantage is just your injuries right now, man. I would say with having 2 wide receivers on scholarship last week, and there's an issue with do we know what's going on with Keegan Johnson right now?
I do not. I know that there was, both him and the other scholarship receiver that sat out last week. I know they're still questionable, so I honestly have no idea. I'm more interested if the second Williams comes back. I really want I want the law firm in full force next week or this weekend.
I think that your injuries are going to be key for us. Honestly, you're going to be depleted in areas that you need to even play, offense. So I think as long as our defense does what it's supposed to out there, that's going to be a huge key. I think the big one, and everyone is hyped up, and we felt good about SEMO, is that Deckers to Hutchinson connection. Mm-hmm. If we can get the top off of the Iowa defense just even a couple times with Hutchinson and be able to get the pressure off of the box, then we can get Jaleel Brock going. And he did his time behind Brees. He's been behind amazing running backs in his time here. His time's due, and he had a great play. It was like a 23-yard on the 1-yard line. Should have been a touchdown, but he did, like, you remember the Reggie Bush Fresno State. Where he was doing the punt return and he just stops instantly and starts going again. He had that same thing versus SEMO. So I'm
nice
again. If we can get that offense going, like I said, if we go up by 14, until it reaches 0, I'll feel better. But I think if we get up by 14, 17 points, I don't think Iowa has any shot at coming back, barring a pick 6 at that point.
Right. Yeah, if you get up 17, it's over. Like, there's no way Iowa – God damn it, I hate to say this. There's no way the Iowa offense can score 3 times in a game. I just don't believe it. So.
Yeah. But, and the sad thing is, golly, there's just been so amazing stats that have come out this week. I think in the, last 9 games, you've had, I think it's been 9 offensive touchdowns and 7 defensive. Your defense is so stupid good that, to be honest, you have a top 10, maybe even close to playoff level of defense, so discipline ready. If you had a top 80 or 70 offense, we'd be talking about dark horse playoff team. But you have a quarterback that had a 1.1 QBR rating, and you couldn't do anything South Dakota State, and it's just like, Jesus, man, you get anyone that can. If Kirk would just get his hand out of the cookie jar, to be honest, he's been there 24 years. That is the biggest stat that they bring up every single game. It's the Ryan Tannehill played receiver at A&M type stat. Every 24 years, most tenured. He's got to let loose and let Iowa play. Your number 4 wide receiver is leading Purdue right now. You can get the athletes, let them do it.
Exactly. Fucking exactly. And don't forget, this team got to number 2 in the nation last year with the number 1 defense. Granted, at the end of the year, it was different because Georgia, that defense was just insane. But Iowa was still ranked at the end of the year because of that defense. And this defense, after watching last week, is even fucking better. If we just had any decent quarterback ever, like, give me fucking. I don't even care. I want to say CJ Beathard or Ricky Stanzi, but that's even better than what we need. Just give me anybody. Jake Rudock, the kid that transferred to Michigan, give me him. And everyone was booing that motherfucker. Like, this is just, it's too good of a defense to waste, and they're going to. Just somehow they're going to.
Ferentz, and you, it can be to a fault, but he is loyal. He wanted Petrus, he wanted Padilla there. He didn't pursue anyone in the transfer portal, which everyone else was doing. They're trying to get any of these missing pieces that they have. Kurt recruits well, and he is loyal to his guys, but to a fault that you saw last week. Like I said, he didn't even take him out just to give the kid a breather. Let Padilla hand it off 3 times and punt and pin him deep, and just get Petrus some time. You know, we always see in the NFL games they have their Microsoft Surfaces and they're going over plays. Jesus, just do that for 10 minutes, you know?
Yep. So this reminds me, remember it's been more than a few years ago. Remember how Russell Wilson was a nothing at NC State, really? And then all of a sudden he goes to Wisconsin and has that fucking amazing year. If you tell Bo Nix or the kid that's at
Texas?
Fuck. No, anyway, you tell one of those transfer quarterbacks. I can't remember now. It's just going blank. West Virginia.
JT Daniels,
Bo Nix, someone like that. Hey, you can have this defense that will keep you in every single game, and I'm just going to let you light it up. Like, why would they not come to Iowa? You're playing in the Big Ten West.
Because he doesn't let you do that. Because Kirk
That's what I'm.
doesn't. Yeah, sorry.
No, that's what I'm getting at. Thank you for saying that. Why? There's so many in the transfer portal, especially this year, that are legitimate starters that have started other places. Why not bring them in and then just throw the ball around for 1 year? Let this defense play. Let your quarterback just do really cool, awesome shit that we've never seen in Iowa before. Let them do that just for 1 year. What the fuck's it going to hurt? You're not going anywhere. Brian's not going anywhere. The fan base would actually be more behind you if you brought someone like that in and let them just toss the ball around. Like, you would probably gain more people that way. So, I don't know. I
agree.
I need to stop bitching about this because it just makes it sound like I have no faith in the team. With that defense and Torrey Taylor, I have all the faith in the world that we're going to be in every game. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll end it here then. What are just Cyhawk? What is your final score prediction?
I'm going to go 12-7 Hawks.
4 field goals.
Yep.
App State scored 40 points in the fourth quarter last week. They had 6 touchdowns. Does Iowa get 6 touchdowns, offensive touchdowns by October?
I don't think they get it before they start Big Ten play, to be honest with you.
That's rough.
Yeah.
So 12-7 Iowa?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm thinking it's going to be something goofy with Iowa State because, again, we're going to have some special teams flub. I think if we get in the end zone maybe twice, until I see something where we might be able to expose that defense, where we're going to get, I think, one, not even fluke, but we're going to get one Z touch or one Hutchinson X touchdown. We're going to get one of those, and then you're going to be able to stop us enough. But I think it's going to be like I'm going to predict it's 19-9, and you're going to get your 9, not by 3 field goals. You're actually going to get a touchdown, and then you're going to get another safety, and safety U is going to keep going.
I'm fine with that. I mean, I don't want to lose, but another safety never hurts, so I'll take it.
Yeah. I think safety U is just going to continue with how good this offense is. Because, I mean, again, your keys to the game, your punter puts you within the 5 every time. And if your defense can get enough pressure, you're going to get those 2 point, way more. You're just doing Beamer ball, just Ferentz ball at this point.
Yep, exactly. So, no, I'm really hoping just for not just for a good game, but I hope there's a Hawkeye win, but I do hope it's a good game, and I hope both fan bases, are excited about their teams moving forward after the game.
One last thing on that, I forgot about doing in the hate. I absolutely hate both sides. We're going, it's your team's Super Bowl. It's your Super Bowl. Can we not just be excited about a fucking rivalry game? God, it's the stupidest fucking thing. You're excited about your team's biggest rival coming to town or playing your rival for Iowa State. Hey, you're not excited about your team could win for the first time in 7 years. Iowa, you're not excited about little brother coming to town and you can beat their ass again. It's a game to be fun, and Super Bowl, stupidest fucking thing, man. I think for Iowa, your Super Bowls have been the last few years playing Michigan's, your Wisconsin's, and you're competing for the Big Ten title. And, a few years ago, dark horse, playoff team. For Iowa State, it's more like we're looking more forward to playing Oklahoma State, Oklahoma's, and a couple years ago playing for the Big 12 championship. I don't think there's any team, any fan that's really like, this is the biggest game on the schedule. But you can't act like it's well, if you like it, it's the Super Bowl. Go fuck yourself, man.
Yep, and I agree with that. I want both teams to be good enough that this is a rivalry game that like sets you up for the rest of the season good. But it's not like a make or break type of game. And I think last year that was kind of the way it was, especially if Iowa State would have panned out according to what the hype was. And I think that is kind of how Iowa views it. And I want both teams to be that good. So I'm hoping that is the way it is this year.
I mean, one big thing that everyone was, I think we bitched about it earlier, but they're going, this was such a disappointing year for Iowa State. I mean, I have our schedule up. The only game that I felt that we were truly out of was the Iowa game, and it's because we got a garbage touchdown late in the game with Hunter Deckers. So Hunter Deckers already has that experience throwing a touchdown versus Iowa, so that's another key of the game. But I mean, we lost at Baylor by 2 points. They went into a New Year's Six Bowl. We're a no-foot touchdown at West Virginia away from winning that one. 3 points at Texas Tech. The tied for the longest game-winning kick in the history of football. I did the research last year. There's been no other, there's been longer kicks, but none for a game winner. Oklahoma, we lost by 1 touchdown, and then Clemson in the bowl game by 1 touchdown. Like this team was the 50-50 shots. 2 years ago, we got everyone going our way. Last year, we just kind of stumbled and we lost the 50-50 matches, and it happened. We just, and we put ourselves in bad positions to even be in those. But it was a lot closer than 7-6. We were pretty darn close to the 9 win. I'm not going to say 10 win. We've never happened. So we were close to that, couple things change and it's a 9 win season.
Yeah. And then a couple things changed the other way, and you could have been Nebraska and been a 3-win season. So
yeah, that's 3-win team in history, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
But I would say, other than El Assico, as Blaine dubbed it, and we've heard before, got a few big games here. Alabama 20.5-point favorite at Texas. Baylor 3.5-point dog at 21 BYU, and then your 6th favorite team, Tennessee.
Possibly. I've been to a game at Neyland Stadium, so it's up there.
Then 24 Tennessee, 6.5-point favorites at number 17 Pitt. Any of those? I mean, are you going to be, other than Cyhawk, what's the biggest game that you're going to be watching this weekend?
Probably Bama, Texas, just because I want to see Nick Saban beat the shit out of Texas and just stop that hype train. With mostly just the stupid hype train. I don't really care. I don't want bad things to happen to the Texas team itself, but I'm just so tired of the hype. Like, put them in their place. Let everyone know that they're not back. So there's that. And then I do like that Baylor BYU game, especially Baylor being an underdog. That's crazy. I know Provo's a tough place to play, but come on. I'm
really hyped for that one because it just future Big 12 right here. This could be the championship game when they first come in. That's probably my favorite game. First off, Provo, just that will be on my on one of my games I have to go to is anything at BYU, because every time they pan out and they look at these beautiful fucking mountains out there in Provo, I'm gonna have to watch my language. Like, I'm just casually throwing F-bombs here. You can't do that in Provo, so I'm gonna have to tone it down a little bit if I ever go. But I think that one sneaky is gonna be my favorite game of the weekend. Tennessee Pitt. I think that one's. I have a bad feeling that one's going to become a blowout, because we just saw Pitt. They choked it away last week versus
West Virginia.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting West Virginia and Pitt mixed up. Oops.
Right.
Any Pitt fan is going to fucking hate me for that. Actually, I mean, I'm still going to agree with it. I mean, I'm sorry. Actually, I'm saying the right thing. West Virginia lost that game. Pitt didn't win it. So I think Tennessee's probably going to go in. I think they're going to. I mean, I bet you they cover with just one touchdown. I don't think it's going to be crazy. A crazy win, but I think Tennessee covers that. And then that 20.5 is a lot, but it's Saban with a returning Heisman Trophy quarterback, and he reloads with everything. I think Bama covers that. I mean, I almost feel like Saban's going to make a statement because he finally lost to an assistant last year. I almost feel like that's going to be at least a 24 to 28 point win.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to bring up him going against Sark and he was also rumored to be like almost looking at houses and stuff in Austin. So just shooting down all those rumors and running the score up. I mean, and I don't know, Saban just signed a new contract. He's going to be coaching till he's in his 80. Well, till he turns 79, 80. Like, I'm sure he's only got a few more games where he can just like put his thumb down and rub it in, and I hope this is one of them. So let's do that shit.
Yeah. And just to remind people of the Sark hate, he's only one time finished above third ever at any school, and he's coached Washington, USC, Texas. Texas, he tied for 7th last year. So prove something to me, Sark. I don't think it's going to be this week, but the good thing is you're not going to go down too much because you lost to the best team in the country. So it's going to be like Florida. You're just going to go down that little bit. So,
yep, makes sense.
Do you have any locks of the week?
I don't really. I don't. I was looking at the schedule earlier. I think it's just another good slate. I'm pretty pumped about this one. I mean, my lock would probably be Alabama, to be honest with you. I think that they're going to shit stomp.
Bama covers.
Yeah, by a lot. I would almost say that Bama covers by double that. So, the other lock I would have is Iowa holding Iowa State under 17.
So,
under
$20.
Yeah, so I can win that $20.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked at that. I would say it's just going to be Iowa State has to hold their opponents to under 17, because otherwise they're not going to compete. So,
right, exactly.
I think Don actually said it earlier, and the more I'm thinking about it, I kind of agree. I think that that game's going to go under 40. It is such a low total, and I don't think it gets above that, man. I mean, under 40.5 for the ISU game. I think that one is I think that's going to be my lock here, dude.
I mean, I had the score predicted at 19 points, so yeah, I would say it's definitely going to be under 40.
And I wouldn't say I had it at 28 points. I just had to do quick math here. So, I mean, under 40.5, I'll take that as my lock.
Yep, good call. I like that.
So, and then I would say if you want to follow any of my other bets, I would say I keep track of them on Action Network. Not a sponsor, but I really love that. I'm a very analytical guy, so I love being able to see. Last week I went 3-3-1. I'm down $4 on the week. I'm not betting huge money, but being able to see what I'm down, what I'm losing my bets on, my over-unders, my props, so I know, hey, Brian, you've had a couple drinks. Don't bet an over-under because you suck at them. Don't bet any player props because Will Shipley can't get fucking 70 yards in the Clemson game versus Georgia Tech. That was the dumbest one, man. Their starting running back that has odds for the Heisman couldn't rush over 73.5 yards, I think.
That Clemson offense looked weird that night. They didn't look bad, but they did not look good. It was a weird game for Clemson. Uliangale or whatever his name is not good. I would not be surprised if that 5-star Colback or whatever, if he came back in.
I think Debo put him in on purpose, and I think he ran that offense on purpose. He ran that offense with a meaning, like, because when Clemson was playing before, they're kind of meandering, they're kind of doing the thing, and then this 5-star comes in, and they're fucking hammering it home, dude. Like,
Right.
First off, I hated it because it forced my under that was looking like a fucking the smartest bet to a push at the end of the game. But I mean, that kid was slinging it. He had a very accurate and a good arm on that one, dude, and he's got some speed.
Right, I agree. Yeah, I think he's way better than DJ. So, which Iowa, Kirk Ferentz, listen, you could get DJ next year. He could be, a quarterback that we could get. Jesus.
He'll look good handing it off to the law firm. So, but what else do we have? Oh, last thing, and I'm surprised. I wanted to end on this one because I think this one's going to kind of fun and it's going to end us on a good note. 12-team fucking playoff finally, dude.
Yes. Yeah, I'm excited about it. Anything over 4 was going to make me happy. I wish they would have capped it at either 8 or 10. This is fine. 12 is going to be fine. And I'm excited for it. I think I really like the wrinkle of the lower seeds getting the home games. That's kind of cool.
Yes. And the sad thing is you're going to have your Bamas and Georgias complain, well, we don't get a home game. It's like, you get a bye, okay? That's way more important than fucking playing an extra week, risking an injury versus anyone. But this was the right move. I think the committee realizes how stale of a product they had, because you could ask any casual fan that didn't keep up with the sport the whole year, other than, they're a Syracuse fan or East Carolina, and they go, and you go, who's winning the championship? Do the Pirates have a chance? No, it's Bama. No, it's Clemson. No, if Georgia doesn't piss it down their leg, it's Georgia. You're dealing with the same 5 to 6 teams every year, and you're just interchanging 4 to get their shit pounded in by Bama.
Right. And I don't understand the people that argue, well, it doesn't change anything. The same teams are still getting in. So?
Oh, you mean Trey online last week?
Yeah, and we have meaningful football now. Like, there's meaningful football that is taking place and I know we all love bowl games, but if you get rid of, 7 or 8 bowl games, and these are the bowl games, and they have meaning behind them, you're not going to have kids sitting out. You kill 2 birds with 1 stone with that. And I don't know. I don't understand the arguments of, well, you're still getting the same teams. Who the fuck cares? Like, I'd rather have more meaningful games and still have those teams in. It doesn't matter.
See, the biggest thing on that one that just drove me fucking bananas was we have this Georgia fan that came to our mentions, and this is a fan of a team that just won the national championship, and you're online crying because there's going to be more teams to play. And like you said, it's going to be the same teams every year. If you are that good, then one more game versus Coastal Carolina, Iowa State, Iowa, Wisconsin, Ole Miss. TCU, Baylor. I'm trying to list all these teams that in the last few years were on the outside looking in. If you're truly that good, you shouldn't be scared. You get every 5-star recruit. You have the Southeast locked down, and you're worried because Western Michigan might get in one year and has to play at A&M, the following year. It's just it was just they're being crybaby pee pantses about it.
Yep, exactly.
It's just amazing that there's people that are upset about this, and it's not for the sake of, I'm worried about my team. Some of it's I'm worried about my team, but it's also just like you said, same teams are going to win. Then prove it. It's one more game. You're giving more people a shot, and do you not think that something it perpetuates the idea of you're a top team, but also you get the exposure of playing in the playoffs, so then recruits want to go there, and then you get the top recruits, so you get to go to the playoffs. Do you not think that's a little bit unfair that it's the same 4 teams that get all this national exposure and money to instead? I mean, it's just feeding the 1% of the 1% to the top, and they're mad because we might have to share a little bit of pie to the peons of the Big 12, or God forbid we see a Pac-12 team in the playoffs for the first time in like 7 years,
Right. Well, and with this, if you're that worried about, not having a home game in the SEC, what's the worst that happens? You get second, and then you get a home game, and you get another home game if you win. Like, if Alabama finishes second in the SEC, they'll be in that first 8 and then get 2 home games. Like, who the fuck cares then?
Mm-hmm. No, it's literally the only people that are mad about it are SEC and Ohio State fans, because they realize that now it's not the easiest. It's not the easiest thing to play through a weak division and then be able to. You already have the biases of your top team, so you'd be able to jump in. So I don't know.
Right.
Fuck people that don't want 12 teams. I agree. Maybe they should have jumped to 8, but I love that this is also incorporating these athletic departments get one more game a year if you're 5 to 8, where you can make money for your school at a home event, sell tickets. I mean, I was looking at the 2012 2020 season for COVID, and I was looking at the top 12 teams. I think it was Iowa State would have had to play in the swamp. It was Coastal Carolina at A&M. I mean, Georgia would have to go to Cincinnati to play. That's like exhibition on college football, NCAA 14 shit. I mean, it's
right.
Fun.
Right, exactly. It's always, anytime there's meaningful games, no matter who the fuck's playing, it's fun.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know, man. The first thing they've done in a while, and that correctly, I think, by that committee, and they finally pushed it to 12. And like you said, when the first time Bama wins, or the first time Bama's a 9 seed and they win the whole fucking thing, we're going to bitch about it again. But for now, they've sufficed us. They shut us the hell up. They listened. We're getting more teams in.
Yep, exactly.
So, Joe, any final thoughts before we hop off here?
Nah, man. Join us coming up in a few minutes for the UFC podcast coming up. But yeah, other than that, college football, just excited for another good week. Cyhawk series is always a fun time.
Absolutely. So I would say, do we want to do 2 separate, or are we just going to do like a 30-second pause here?
Let's just do 2 separate.
Okay. All right. We'll wrap it up here and say, again, appreciate everyone that joined in, contributes in the chat. Make sure you follow our socials. It's going to be at Heartland Pulse on Instagram and Twitter. If you're watching it live on YouTube, if not, you're listening to on any podcast platform, Facebook and YouTube is going to be Pulse of the Heartland. Just make sure you like, subscribe, tell your friends. Hell, if you want to hear more betting advice, I know Don's been here the last few weeks asking us on some random games. It's kind of fun discussing games that aren't, Iowa State, some teams that might actually have a lot of offense or outside of our comfort zone. So yeah, keep them coming. But otherwise, again, we do appreciate everyone joining in, and go Cyclones.
Go Hawks, baby. Thanks for everyone listening.